Audio on Twitter and Instagram, whatever. And yeah, his entire page is just dedicated to being cool, being an alpha male, and putting down women while trying to convince everybody how cool he is. But babe, we can see you. We can see you with our eyes. So in the comments section,
Good evening, gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about sticking to your dating system. And what dating system is that? The answer is whatever you have established as being the most effective way to meet women. That has worked in the past. So there is some basic principles to this. There's always going to be like, hey, you can't do this, the guardrails, so to speak, the rules. But within that, there's going to be the minor nuances that have worked for you based on stuff like the culture, country, location, part of the country you're in, age, even social class, uh, income. But at the end of the day, from a basic level, there has to be these things in place. And we're going to talk about why guys change it up or want to change it up, and why some men also um, kind of get bored of their system or want to do something different and all that stuff. Uh, and all that. But we'll get into that. So, good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a good weekend and everyone enjoyed their time off. Me personally, I had a very relaxing week. I didn't do much. I just had some steaks with a friend. We just grilled some steaks on the grill and all that. Um, that was fun. Played Death Stranding all yesterday. Essentially, some Kirby on my Nintendo Switch. So pretty relaxing weekend. Didn't do that much. Besides that, I hosted Rule Zero. It was a good show. It was just me and Cappy, but we talked about approval seeking behavior, and we used some recent celebrities to expound on that point. I think on Friday, I think on Friday or Saturday morning, I released another article. So that's 92 articles on Substack, and then 93 I'll start writing tomorrow. So there's that, guys. Uh, so yeah, 93 articles, 7 more to go, and we'll see when I can get this book out. Started working on the cover art, trying to research what I want. I already have a concept, and then it's all about right now finding who's going to write the forward and all that stuff because um, I want the forward to be. I want the choice of who I choose to write the forward to be interesting and all that. But we'll see. Um, we'll see. We'll go from there and all that. Uh, so yeah. All right, guys. So essentially, guys have a dating system. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then we come here and we trade notes, right? So I already told you guys what the my dating system is, and the one that not to be the guy to tell you what to do, but this will work for the most men in the majority of cases. And for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. But you have space to to change. The only thing that should change is when you notice that the girl's ready to go home with you. If a girl's ready to go home with you, then there's no real need to keep the date going. Like if she mentions like, "Hey, can I meet your dog?" or "Can I come back to your place? I need a glass of water." Whatever. When women are making excuses to go to your place before you do, then that's time to like, hey, let's get out of it, cut out of here, and ask for the check and go. Right? You've done enough. She's probably already convinced she wants to have sex with you or wants you to take the lead or see what happens. So you can step out of your system. But that is part of the system, is the ability to leave or cut it loose or go home when it's time. It's not for you to see it to completion every time. Remember, it's like painting a canvas. Sometimes you want the woman to see the whole canvas or the whole finished job, but when you draw a portion of it or you just draw the outlines of everything and she's already amazed about what you've created, you don't need to keep going. Even though you want to see how great she is, how great you are, you don't need to keep going. The art is done. The audience is satisfied. So there's that. Um, so we already talked about how to, you match with the girl on a dating app or you meet her in real life. Make sure that again, I think we talked about this last weekend. Make sure the intention when you approach a woman in real life is that you want to take her out, that you want to see her again in a romantic way, isolated way, not friends, not all that stuff. Now, this changes if you're in a social circle, because in a social circle, it's more like the girls are going to come to you. You're probably in a place already where there's a lot of socializing, and it could be a sexual zone, like a pool party, or you're on vacation somewhere. But um, yeah, so essentially, you have to make it known when you approach a girl that you tend to take her on a date. Now, a lot of guys will be like, "Well, let me just get her number or her Instagram and then bounce." But let her know while you're approaching, "Hey, I intend to take you out. I want to see you again. I want to let's grab some drinks sometime, whatever." Let her know early. Because if you don't, that could be seen as it's unattractive. It shows that you don't have the balls to ask a girl out right in front of her. So it doesn't mean you have to show her, give her a time and a place, right? But just make it pretty obvious that you're not a friend, another guy she has on Instagram. Because Instagram isn't really a place. Instagram is very neutral in terms of showing intent, right? If you grabbing her number is pretty straightforward. Like, no, women don't give numbers out to guys unless it's like they need to, like for a friend gathering or whatever. But Instagram is more of a very neutral kind of, hey, I give you my Instagram. Are we friends? Or do I intend to take you out? All that stuff. So ask for a number or just let her know, hey, if you're gonna ask for Instagram, attach it to an intention. Don't just be like, let me get your Instagram, because Instagram is a friend, is like it's very neutral. It could be sexually neutral. It doesn't mean exactly that you have an intention here. It could just mean that you want another follower, whatever. So yeah, be careful with that. Step two is plan the date. Obviously a little bit of banter. Plan the date. Make sure logistics are on point. Blah blah blah. You guys know they try to get a place as close as possible, but something classy. Remember, going to a dive bar is the drinks are like $11, and going to a really nice place, the drinks are like 15, 16. So the difference isn't much. So go to a nicer place for drinks. It's not going to break the bank or anything like that. Make sure the place is quiet. Make sure the place has good seating. If it's summer, don't be outside. It's too hot. Um, not too loud, like I mentioned, and try to sit at the bar if you could, or sit at somewhere where you're forced to almost be touching each other's legs and all that stuff. That will help with your kino escalation, make her feel comfortable. It's a plausible deniability because it wasn't your plan to sit so close to her, but we have to because the bar is kind of packed. So there's that. After that, you will do your normal kino escalation. You start with hands, shoulder, um, thigh, and so on and so forth. We already talked about that. And then on the date, you have some stories, interesting stories by yourself, stories that demonstrate higher value, DHV, but not too obvious, right? Don't be like, so I saved this bus full of kids, right? Make kind of pepper in very subtle details that you have that you are trying to tell a story, but also like, hey, I'm pretty awesome. It's just I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna let the story tell you, not me. So there's that. If you could skip to a second place, so make sure you have a second place in mind, a place where there's a equally quiet, intimate setting, that stuff that'll give you illusion you're on a second or third date. Um, and it was like a time warp for women. They don't feel like they've just met you and they're going to your place. They feel more like, hey, we're on a second date, and that increases comfort and all that stuff. Control women's drinking. Usually, women after two drinks, three drinks, they start getting a little bit. Some will be more fun, but most women are going to be either very emotional or get a little sick or just be not fun to be around. So try to control women's drinking. Uh, and then after that, ask her to her place. If she declines, offer, hey, do you need a ride to walk to your car and all that stuff. No, I'm fine. Okay, well, have a good night. It was nice meeting you. And then go for a second date, if you think it's worth it. And if not, if she does say yes, take it to your apartment. Hopefully you live close by or a short Uber ride. Try to kiss close on the Uber ride or on the elevator, to let her just like set the tone when you get to your apartment. When you get inside your apartment, show her your apartment, the cool stuff you've gotten, have stories. If you have your plausible deniability, if you have a puppy, make that the focus. If you have a good view, if you have a home bar, whatever you have. And then from there, um, go escalate physically and then take it home from there. And then the rest is on her. So that's the system, guys. It sounds complicated, but it's not. If you guys really think about it, it's something that I've built. A lot of men like me have built, and it's not that hard. It is what it is, right? When I started using the system in 2021, um, and I did dabble in 2020, but the COVID and all that. Even though I lived in Texas, when I started using the system in 2021, essentially I had like a sex close rate of 80%. So I would go on a date, and about would um 4 out of 5 women would sleep with me, go home and sleep with me, which is pretty good. And that's on the first date. So yeah, it was a different time. I know COVID had a lot to do with it. Women were on the dating apps. No one really had much of a social life, and all that. So uh, yeah, for the most part, this is a great system, and there's really not. It's flawless, right? And it requires. Really, it depends on logistics being good, and it depends on you taking action and being like, "This is the next thing." But for some reason, there have been times where I stepped out of this system, and it hasn't really paid off much for me the times I've stepped out. You've heard the various sayings: trust the process. If it works, it works. And the KISS method: keep it simple, stupid. That's KISS. So it just seems to me that as humans, we kind of have a lot of trouble following what works. We want to build on something, we want to change something. It could be because our own ego, uh, we want to add to something to make it awesome, or it could be because we don't want things get boring, monotonous. We want a little chaos, or we think we can do better and make a name for ourselves from improving things. But the truth is, when it comes to women, despite there being Instagram, uh despite there being Instagram, despite there being dating apps, OnlyFans, all these things that throw kind of little wrenches in the dating thing, women are not much different. Women are pretty much the same, and all these things, they worked for men 20 years ago, and they'll work now. A lot of things have changed because we're spending more time online, but the real life interaction, the human face-to-face interaction is pretty much the same. You still got to have all these concepts. So I would say in a sense that this system is timeless. So why did I change it? Why would you guys change it? Why do men decide like, hey, there's this type of girl in front of me, so I got to change the system? And I'll tell you, there's several inflection points to a guy, a womanizer, or a Don Juan, or player's life, or just a guy that dates, where he implements or he says the same thing he says to a mid or a slightly above average girl he says that to a very attractive girl, and it's equally, if not more, receptive. And this is a very big inflection point for a lot of men, especially men that date. It is strange because in your head, you've always been taught about the concept of leagues. Hot girls are different. Eights are different, sevens are different, sixes are different, fives are different, so on and so forth. But the truth is, guys, that women are women despite how beautiful they are. Now, are there certain patterns that we see from our overanalyzing internet eyes? Yes. If you're on the internet and you date, you're probably going to see patterns because we have a lot of information. But in the realm of the real world, you'll realize, and I've realized, that using the same lines, the same stories, and the same kind of step by step process of getting a girl back to my place works just as well as on normal chicks than beautiful, gorgeous chicks. It's not much different. While there is differences culturally, or it differences in terms of maybe a hotter girl, the ride will last less long because she's a hot girl. For example, for a chick that's mid, she may be in your world, in your orbit for 4 months, 3 months before she calls it quits, finds a boyfriend, or asks you, "Hey, what are we?" With a very pretty chick, it may be a month, it may be 3 weeks because her attention is always wanted elsewhere, right? Women are almost currency at this point, beautiful women. So, um, it doesn't change much. I think what really changes is the funneling. How you funnel women into your world. But for the most part, it does not change the fact that whatever you say works. What works works, and it works on all types of women. So yeah. When you guys look at women that are more attractive, right? Going on the whole why men change their approach to women when they're more attractive. It's interesting because you don't really know who you are as a man until you've approached a beautiful woman. I've seen men make excuses not to approach pretty women. I've seen men kind of change their behavior around pretty women. It's even a meme like, hey, when you and your homie are talking to a group of women, and then he decides to be a clown and make fun of you. Whatever. Men tend to change up around beautiful women. It reveals a lot about who you are as a guy, yourself. And it's pretty interesting because there have been times where I approach a beautiful woman, maybe get her Instagram, get this, get that. And to me, um, I was just like, "There's no way I'm gonna get this girl. Like, she's too pretty. Like, this was just her being nice." And then she expects me, "Hey, are you gonna take me out?" Or, "Hey, let's go out." And that reveals something about me, how negative I am. I could be very negative. I mask it as it being, "Oh, I'm just good at predicting the future," or "I'm just good at this," or "I'm good at that." I'm like, "No, I'm just a negative person." And that's what beautiful women revealed about me. That, hey, I don't really believe it sometimes, even though I have all the skills. So that's why I invite guys. Guys, talk to a pretty girl. Doesn't have to be like in a sexual tone. Just have a chat, and you'll realize like a lot of a lot of men will never have the balls to even do it. First off, and number two, they don't realize how much approaching a beautiful woman reveals about themselves. Really, it's interesting. I approached a beautiful woman in the gym in 2020. One of the hottest like I was at the gym. It was a town of 100,000 people, and she just started working out next to me on the cable machine, and I just used the Roosh opener. Hey, do I have good form? Or what do you think? And yeah, had a chat with her. I was hot. I was like, it felt like riding a high for 3 days. I was kind of not doing well mentally because I was isolated from the pandemic, COVID, all that stuff. But talking to her, it just made me feel like alive. I felt the rush through my body. I didn't even get her number. I should have, right? But I didn't even get her number, and I realized that this is really what I was missing in my life. It's just I needed to I wanted to talk to beautiful women. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to do this. And I was scared, just like everyone else. Anxiety is anxiety, and you're gonna feel it no matter what. No matter how good you are with women, there's always gonna be anxiety. There's always gonna be uh, something in your heart there telling you not to do something, right? It's uncomfortable, and that's why you must do it because it's uncomfortable. And you, on a long enough timeline, after approaching women, even women that aren't gorgeous, but just women in general, the world and its opinion starts to change a little bit. You start to realize that people don't like it when you talk to beautiful women. They want you to go through this invisible gauntlet, which is being an athlete, superstar, celebrity, having lots of money, and being beloved by the masses in order for you to enjoy a beautiful woman. They don't want you to be just some guy who understands how to charm women and get them into bed. That's a degenerate, right? But when their favorite athlete does it or their favorite artist does it or whoever, they celebrate it. They think, yeah, what a cool guy. Or, yeah, that's just celebrities. He can have whatever he wants. And that's when you start seeing how silly the average person is when they think of this. No one wants you to win. No one wants you to succeed. Um, and that's why, especially with beautiful women or above women that are above normal attractiveness, you got to keep that shit under wraps because the average person cannot handle the fact that you're getting a woman that's prettier than their girlfriend and the women they would ever dare to approach. Um, and you see this on the internet a lot. There's whole religions, not whole religions, but whole followings built on the fact that men will not approach women. Right? You mean to tell me that all those groypers right now, if they had the skills we do with women, they would be groypers? No, they'd be married, right? Do you think that guys that watch debates and all that stuff, do you think if they had skills with women, they would be there? Now, I understand the red pill. That's what the red pill's for. It's just to get guys who have no skills, who have been screwed over, who don't understand women to understand them for what they are. But at some point you have to do the work. You have to do the inner work. And part of the inner work, like I just said, for example, is approaching a beautiful woman and see how you feel. And another part of that uh, is realizing that no one's coming to save you, right? And imagine this, guys. Imagine you finally accept no one's coming to save you. It's done. It's over. No one's coming to save you. Blah blah blah. But then you built a dating system yourself based on advice that you've seen on the internet, kind of like your own intuition, some concepts from PUAs of old, whatever. You built it yourself. You found the places to take these women. You got in shape. You got the money that allows you to live in the places where there's women, and you did all that. You worked hard, and of all the work you did, especially the inner work, some guy who's done none of this or not even half of this is trying to tell you that you're responsible for the end of this country, or you're responsible for women, him not being married or having kids, or his bloodline depends on you not having sex or whatever. That's how pathetic the world starts sounding, right? So we got a $5 super chat from Boo Boos Bobos. I don't know how to say that.
Thank you so much, best friend!
All right. So we got $5 from Bobos. Got a girl coming over tomorrow that I think is really hot, and I find myself losing my cool around compared to others I've dated. Well, dude, this is part of the process, right? You already did, like, she's coming over. That's a lot of you've done some level of work to get this, right? You've probably gone to the gym, you probably have a tight social circle, you probably built something, and and all that. And now you're worried, like, oh, you haven't convinced yourself that you're awesome, dude. Like You have to understand, you are way above the average person, right? You've got a girl coming over that's hotter than normal. That is an indicator that things are looking up for you. That means that you're shooting higher, you're getting the girls more that you want, and you're nervous. You're supposed to be nervous. That's part of the deal, right? Women wouldn't be fun if they didn't make us nervous. If there wasn't any stakes, right? Imagine playing a video game with no stakes. Hey, I gotta defeat the bad guy. What happens if I don't? Nothing. Oh, what's the point of this game? Same thing with a movie. Hey, they gotta defeat this bad guy. What happens if they don't? Nothing. You would immediately check out. Same thing with women. That this is the fun part, this exciting part, because you could fail. So think about that, and then think about just do what you do with the other girls. If it worked on one girl, it could work, and most likely it will work on another girl. Women are not too much different. Um, and if it doesn't work, most of it will work, right? Uh, and that's the point. That's the big secret about this dating stuff that they don't that the average guy who doesn't get laid wants to tell you. They believe so heartily um in leagues, and that you can't date someone because of their race. Hey, Nuke, you're brown. You shouldn't be dating Asians. Well, I did a lot, like 10 of them in a year. They were all great. I had a great time. Well, Oxford study. Well, Oxford study will does not beat action, right? There's so much on the internet of people advocating for inaction that it's pretty it's pretty evident to me that there's only two groups of men in the world when it comes to dating. It's men that save themselves and men that are waiting for someone else to save them. But anyway, I digress. Just do what you do with other girls. It's normal to feel nervous. That's just part of the deal, right? It's like you don't get to date women and not feel nervous, right? Unless you want to date hogs or women you're not attracted to, then whatever. But you don't have to feel nervous. I mean, you do have to feel nervous, but you don't have to like be neurotic. Sorry, that's what I meant. So yeah, yeah. The Oxford study can kiss my ass. I don't care. Who cares? You know. So yeah. But thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. All righty. This game's so hard, I near don't even want to play anymore. Yeah, well, you're allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to kind of realize what you've done wrong. You're also allowed to stop playing, but remember, you have a reproductive problem, and there's only a couple ways to save it. Sorry, to solve it, and you don't want to be the type of person that kind of lives a life of in the middle, right? Like you don't want to be the guy that doesn't know what to do. Just keeps wishing washing, is paralyzed in the middle by people that telling him to do it, people telling him not to do it. You got to choose a side and you got to stick to it. And that's the problem with a lot of these men that complain about women. It's like, yeah, great, dude. You're allowed to, it's the internet. You can say whatever you want. You can communicate, cool. However, you got to choose. You got to choose a side. You can't be, I want a girlfriend, but not want to talk to women, right? You can't be, hey, I want a wife, but you can't start with being attractive. Like why would someone want to marry you? Well, it's because of someone else. I'm like, no, no, no. Why would someone want to marry you? What qualities you have besides a paycheck? And then start there. You can't live life in the middle. It will drain you. If you guys see the guys who just given up or decide to pay for play or don't care, those guys are happy. The guys that are out in the field giving it their all and doing going after what they want are also happy, right? It's the guys in the middle that haven't chosen a side that are miserable because they want a girlfriend, but they don't want to do the things that are required. They want to complain instead. And then they don't want to do the pay for play or do that route because it disgusts them or makes them feel. I'm like, well, being in this middle area it's worse than the pay for play or going to another country, right? This part right here is what sucks. Make a choice and make it faster because once you make the choice, the path is set in front of you. Know what you must do. If you don't make the choice, you're gonna be in limbo. You're gonna be miserable, and it's gonna be a ping pong tournament between your soul about whether you should do something or whether you should not. And eventually, it's gonna wear you out, and you're gonna become more bitter. And then time is a wasting. So, yeah, yeah, and then also realize what is the benefits versus the cost. If you decide to go all in on dating, you know that it's going to cost money, your time, you're going to get burnt out, but you're going to get a lot of girls, right? A lot of us dudes share the same experiences, so we all kind of mean like, hey, you're going to lose sleep, or you're going to lose money, but not a lot of money, right? Because you're not a blue pill. You understand that money doesn't really do much for women anymore. So yeah, um, in terms of what you gain is genuine desire. You get to meet hotter women. You're happier generally because women like you beyond your money or beyond that they have to religion, morality. But uh, you guys already knew that, so you got to choose a side. Either side I respect. It's the middle that like you not being able to make a decision that kind of is soul draining. So yeah. All right. Okay, we're 31 minutes in. How about we take a break and go from there? All right, and we're back. So, um, cool. Mm, So, what happens with a lot of guys when they find a hotter girl or whatever, a girl, and it doesn't have to be hotter, it could just a girl that meets more of your expectations, like, oh, we both like anime, or oh, she's my same religion, or oh, she's my same race, whatever. Like, men tend to, when they value a woman more as a future partner, I hate I don't wanna use that word, not partner, a future girlfriend, um, or wife, they tend to change their behavior. And here's some things that guys do. They'll plan a more extravagant date. So instead of like drinks, they'll do dinner, right? And we all know dinner is not a really good first date. And if it's not or a concert, like, hey, I'm gonna take you to this concert, right? It's just concerts are loud, you're not gonna be the alpha in the room, it's them. And it's not always a good idea. Um, and what this communicates to the girl and communicates to yourself is that beauty should be rewarded. Her being what I want should be rewarded. She hasn't done anything yet. She hasn't proved herself that she deserves more than an hour or two of your time, right? So this is a problem. Your game is going to change because now you feel like you're qualifying to her, even though before you don't even know. You haven't even had sex with her to be qualifying to her, right? So, uh, you've changed your dating strategy up just because you think she's a rare opportunity to be in front of. This is a rare opportunity for a hot chick to be in front of you, and that's not attractive. She may not know it, but you're lying to yourself. You're doing this because you think that she has to be treated better because she's prettier or more aligned to what you want. And the truth is, guys, I've had women from all ages, all races, all backgrounds, you know, who knows, all different types of things. And I've used this dating system on all of them. It works on all of them. Yes, there's gonna be girls that don't like you that much, and you know they drag their ass out to see you, but didn't like you to begin with. But this all worked. All of this worked. All of this worked. It doesn't matter whether like it's worked on a nerdy Asian violin player to a local influencer. It's all worked. Mexican, Vietnamese, Persian, Moldovan, white, Puerto Rican, Dominican, single mom, 23-year-old, college girl, master's student. It all works, and there's no reason to change it if it there's no reason to change if it's worked on all that and all that. As a matter of fact, it's probably better to change the venue because maybe you'll find a more fun place or a place where the drinks or you'll enjoy the place more, or it's the music's not as loud or whatever. Yeah. So let's see. Just bring up my latest article. Uh, when you change the way you speak and act around a woman you perceive as more attractive, you are subtly communicating to her that you have her on a pedestal. Like I said before, men that are not accustomed to being around beautiful women tend to do this, thinking that they have to rise to the challenge. Being around pretty women fixes this, as it depedestalizes and removes the temptation for you to act different. Act like you've been here before. It's a saying for a reason. So yeah, when guys aren't used to being around pretty women, which is like most men these days, there is an obesity epidemic in America. Also, men are online a lot, so you know they treat beauty as some kind of like rare earth metal that they rarely see in person. And if they did, it's from so many firewalls and proxies to protect their own ego, right? So instead of a man going up to a woman and risking rejection, they want to throw compliments and humor out at girls online, the e-girls, right? Um, they've never seen women for what they are, despite of their beauty. They to us, we see women as just, you know, you can see a beautiful woman, and really, for every woman you see, no matter how beautiful you are, they are, there's a man tired of fucking her. There's a man that's absolutely done with her shit, just like rolling his eyes every time she says or does something, right? And that's the thing here. That's what guys need to understand. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is. There's some guy somewhere that's just tired of having sex with her. So, and think of that. Um, so the point isn't that it works to completion, but that it reveals women's intentions, and if they're on board, gets you to where she wants to be. Now, here comes the part where, like, again, you know, like the red pill is about solutions, and this my solution to my life was this dating system. And yes, I do advocate that it could work for most men, if not all men. However, there's going to be times when it doesn't work, and that's really not the point of the system. It's not for you to get uh perfect results, because again that would make the game boring. You would not you would see you wouldn't see it as a game, you would see it as just a chore, like, oh, I got to do laundry, or oh, I got to run this system so I can get sure 100% sex no matter what um what really uh what really the system is supposed to reveal is if a woman is into you or not with minimal time and money. That's really the ultimate goal. Women that are into you will go through this whole thing and end up in your place the first or second date. Sorry, excuse me. First or second date. And really, that's what guys want. Yes, guys want women to be easier. Yes, the guys that are struggling. Sure. But the system is going to make getting in front of a woman easier and talking to her easier. But at the same time, it's also its main goal is to decipher if the girl is really into you. That's it. It's not more, anything less. After that, you get to decide what you want to do. That's all it is. It's not meant to be this thing that delivers, like you can go, your brain can be an autopilot and you can do nothing. It's just supposed to streamline a process by saving you as much money and time as possible and filtering women for desire. Not, hey, I want to spend his money or I got nothing better to do. It's, hey, I like this guy. And it's a great thing because if you run stuff like this and you stay in it, um, you don't end up hating women or being resentful because you never get to the point where a woman wastes your time other than 2 hours and $70, right? And I know $70 is an hour of work or 2 hours of work for some of you, but it's not that bad. You hear all these dating stories about these horror stories where guys wait 3 months, a month, 5 months, whatever, for sex or for a girl and text and text and text. That's the lack of a system. They're rudderless. They don't know what to do. They think, oh, I have to keep buying her dinners and all that stuff, right? And it's like, no, dude, she doesn't like you, and your system did not reveal that to you, right? You just kept going and going and going. You had no method. You just, hey, I'm only going to press this red button until, it's like while we're working with combos and stuff like that, they're just mashing square and they don't know. Like we know exactly when to press square. We know when to press triangle, L1. We know when to click the R3. We know all those things, right? Because we have a system and it works. But for them, they only know square and they keep mashing it and it works like once in a while to get a hit in, but it just leaves them open constantly. The opponent figures them out immediately and then they get screwed over. And they keep doing it because they haven't figured out, hey, there's a system to this. And it's based on game, it's based on logistics, it's based on her nature. All these things, it accounts for every part of female nature and every part of your nature. And it lays both people's intentions out to bear. And that's ultimately the most honest way to date, is to find a way to get both parties to be honest with themselves and with the other person. If I tell you, hey, uh, plan a date with a woman, right? And you take her to the same place you take other women, but you decide, no, she's better. I got to take her to this better place or I got to do dinner. You are revealing to yourself that you're still blue pill, that you still pedestalize women, right? But if you go through all these motions and you don't really, it doesn't really occur to you that she's gorgeous until you have her in bed. You're just like, wait a minute, she's pretty hot now that she's naked in my bed. Damn. I was just so enthralled by the conversation and how great the system was working that I forgot that this girl has big tits. Nice. And really, this is what reveals about you. You enjoy women. You like women. You just want to enjoy them in maybe a smaller dose or maybe on your terms, maybe on their best behavior. Whatever it is, this is what it reveals. And that's why I was able to learn so much about women, because I wasn't learning behind a fence or a protective layer, like where my ego didn't want to get hurt. I was in front of them, but I was enjoying them properly with discipline. The same way you hold a snake or a wild animal, you don't go up to a wild animal and touch it the way you want. You touch it the way the zoologist or the way the animal seems is non-threatening. And that way you can have uh a better opinion of that animal because you learned the right way to deal with that animal. But if you go up to an animal and you keep just patting it on the head, it's going to bite you. And you're going to be like, what did I do wrong? This snakes suck, or this mountain lion sucks, right? And I'm like, no, dude, you don't pat mountain lions on the head. You got to do this, and you got to do that. You got to offer it food here. You got to make sure that its cubs aren't, like it's not protecting cubs. Whatever you got to do. Same thing with women, right? Yes, I get burned very shortly or very quickly. Now, but I learned quickly. But you learn how to deal with women correctly, and instead of the resentfulness that comes with failing with women, you get information, knowledge, and sex. And that's why I'm here, is because I decided these are the rules. I'm not going to break my system. These are the guardrails. It is what it is. I don't care if she's gorgeous or she's not, whatever. I'm going to use the system and just let it rip. I'm not just going to let it do its work. And guess what? It did work. And I started realizing, oh shit, I'm getting a lot of info from women. I'm learning a lot. The game is the game. I'm learning about, and I'm asking them questions about how other men take them on. It's just bad news, right? So yeah, it's essentially it's that. So stick to it. Like if it works, stick to it. It doesn't matter how awesome the girl is. Just stick to it. You will thank yourself, and you'll thank the people that gave you the system and helped you. Just don't treat a girl special because she's your ideal, because that's gonna mess with your game and all that stuff. You're gonna feel halfway through the date like shitty because you're like, wow, I really pedestalized this woman. I really thought she was different. Um, and you'll also be thankful for how much the system will save you from a lot of time wasted and shitty women and women that are not um attracted to you and just want to waste your time. See it more as a shitty women filter than a hard and fast system. It's supposed to just get bad women away from you so you don't end up on the internet making content about how much women suck. And then it's supposed to keep the good ones in your life, and you'll be happier for it. And you'll be closer to a girlfriend or a wife if she so chooses and if you so opt in. So it's not to come up with a world perfect system to sleep with any woman that sits in front of you, but to filter for genuine interest so you don't have to waste any more time than you have to. Changing your system nullifies this and demonstrates lower value when you change it. Trust your system. That's all it is, guys. So if you guys would like to do a quick dating Q&A, let me know. Um, and I answer some questions. But give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. I had to take care of something real quick. Uh, no, I just any dating questions you want to ask or red pill questions. I'm down. But oh, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, I try to get you guys mentally where you're supposed to be. So uh yeah, I have some stuff that I want to talk about all the time. I mean, I obviously had that thread. It went viral, the thread about what red pilled you, or the lore about what red pilled you, and like most of it's like obviously guys think it's like political stuff and all that. But for me, I saw a lot of responses about everyone's Batman origin story with women and all that. And it just seems to me like it was either they got screwed over by divorce or they worked in an industry that was like maybe in a sexual zone, like maybe they worked at a nightclub or there was one guy that worked as security for a hospital, and he said he had to escort several fathers from the delivery room because of it was not their baby. So that was interesting. Whether if he's telling the truth, that's interesting and all that. So that's crazy. I'm trying to see what else. Excuse me. Um, what else I wanted to? Yeah, nothing much. I I saw the mystery interview on Rolo's show, a piece of it that I could. It's pretty really good stuff. Nothing nothing makes you feel like every men are just lazy in general than uh hearing a PUA talk on the like the mystery. Like it just makes me realize like all this work I've done to like overcome my own fears and all that stuff, and to this day still overcoming them. And then the average guy can't be fucked to go on a date and try and like go to the gym, do something, just do something for his own situation. Um, and it's just like, why do we want to save these men? The whole Captain Saber, bro. Like, let them burn. These men will drag you down with them, So, oh, this is good. Red pill isn't anti-marriage or monogamy. However, I realize I don't want that. Is that a bad takeaway? No, it's actually the whole point of the red pill is to find out what you want. So right now you don't want it. That could change, but you're a man, you have time. You don't have to like decide tomorrow. But that's the whole point. The whole point wasn't for you to do something you don't want to do. The whole point was like to figure out what you want and don't want, and then go get it with the tools that the red pill gave you. That's it. There's nothing anti-red pill about. The red pill is supposed to be used by you to get what you want. If you don't want marriage, then don't do it. Right? It's up to you. So yeah. But great question, Frank. I appreciate it. That's also it's another inflection point in a man's life when he finally starts learning this stuff, gets good with the ladies, and then he actually has several opportunities for long-term relationships. Like he dates women, the women actually want to stay in his life, other than like sloppy one-night stand or just you know 3-month short relationships. And then he realizes, well, like I've worked my whole life for this moment, but I don't really want it. But I'm like, yeah, that's the point. You thought you were trained to think that the only way to be happy was a long-term relationship with a woman. That is your default training, or that you were taught as a kid. And now that you've got through that training and realized I don't need marriage to be happy. As a matter of fact, I don't need anything besides what I built. I went out happiness and I didn't need anyone else for it. It was just all me. And then they realized, wait, that was what I thought marriage was my whole life. It was like the key to happiness, the missing piece. But no, it never was, and it never will be. Marriage will never complete a man. It will never. It will never complete. Your children will never complete you. As a matter of fact, it's almost abusive for uh, to your wife and kids to have to put that burden on them. You are awesome without them, and you're happy to have them there, but you never needed them to be happy. I know that's a jarring statement for a lot of people, but that is the exact attitude that will keep women crazy about you your whole life, including your wife. So, yeah. Um, you don't have to uh you don't have to capitulate to the feminist harpies and all that stuff that are constantly saying, "Hey, men that don't get married are childish, or men they're just something's wrong. They need to go to therapy." That's just sexually unsuccessful women that had to settle with their shitty, boring husbands, or are single, or just not happy, trying to get you to back on the plantation. But the truth is, you have figured out something so important about yourself that no one can take that away from you, even though they try. And now that you know it, you're way ahead just by knowing what you want. You're way ahead of most men, and You may not realize this, but there's men that are 40, 50, married 20 years, and they don't want to be married. They just don't know it, right? Because entertaining the thought of doing something just for themselves or living life on their terms is heresy. It goes against everything they have ever kind of been trained for. And now you have broken past that. And there is no bad takeaway from this. It's actually a good takeaway. So consider yourself one of the lucky few men on this planet that finally has realized that this is what he wants and that he's not going to listen to someone outside of his life that doesn't contribute, doesn't give him anything, doesn't do anything for him about how he should live his life. So, you know, or you could just keep watching debates and see whoever wins, you do whatever they say. That's another option, but I think you're going to be fine. So, all right. Any other questions, guys? Trying to see if there's anything of value to talk about. Uh, let's see. Yeah, nothing much. I guess I'll talk about how I got red pilled. The how I got red pilled thread. Maybe tomorrow. I mean, I'm pretty busy. I'm pretty slammed this week, but maybe I'll probably find time sometime soon and all that. So, um, but yeah, guys. Again, thank you for the support with the Substack. My writing has slowed down a little bit. It's just I'm not getting writer's block, but it's just the ideas are slow to come out. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just not getting enough sleep. I did get 9 hours or eight and a half hours today, and I plan to do that tomorrow. So um hopefully yeah. Blitzkrieg, Nuke, not a question, but I enjoy your recent live streams. You do being you be doing during midday. Sure, man. Yeah, I see that a lot of my viewers are online during the lunch hours. Maybe they had a quick break for lunch, or they're done for the day, or I don't know. But if you guys like those, I will continue doing those. It won't be on a hard and set schedule because I am in and out of, like, work is sometimes I finish early, sometimes I finish late, and then I go home and work from home and all that. But for the most part, I will continue to do those, and I'll just pick a topic, maybe something current, or something just maybe just a quick dating Q&A. So those will continue, and yeah, your wish is my command, my friend. Those will continue. So here's another fact that's hard to set for most people: be willing to walk away from family, especially if the wife no longer wants you around. Sure, you'll miss the children, but it's better to. Yeah. Obviously, if you may want to fix things, refer to the married red pill uh, and all that stuff. Read your red pill sidebar. Work on yourself before you pull the plug. It's not as easy, really easy for me to say someone else to say, just leave your marriage. But there's kids, there's mortgage. The wife still loves the husband still loves the wife. You're just not sexually attracted to each other anymore. However, um, for the most part, you have to be willing to pull the plug if things get bad and you don't see a way out, right? You don't see you being happy. Um, you just have to do that, right? So yeah. Anyway, so anything else, guys? Yeah, I mean, guys, Rule Zero was really good. I recommend. We talked about the assertive Bill of Rights, so good stuff. Assertive Bill of Rights is always great stuff to go on. It's one of the things that um us smaller guys in the red pill kind of talk about, and it's very important. Um, Never think this red pill stuff is about changing women or being so awesome that women just change around you. You're going to have to establish boundaries, and it takes real balls to tell a woman no these days, right? And to not to go by these assertive bill of rights and enforce them in your own life. It's not easy. Making money, you just go to work and do a slightly above average job, and you'll be promoted, and you'll make six figures by 35 in most jobs, right? If you just do the job and all that. However, if you are if if you go about life thinking that just you being awesome is enough for people to get in line, like you're some kind of king or politician or someone that important, then you have something coming to you, right? And your assertive bill of rights is your way to establish boundaries in your own life. So, breakups don't happen suddenly. Sometimes it takes months, if not years. Yeah, and honestly, it's better if you try to accelerate it, right? And one way to accelerate it is to work on yourself, be reflective. And I hate saying work on yourself. You guys know, like read the books, go to the gym, make yourself more attractive, and see if she stops taking you for granted. And if that doesn't work, maybe it's time to pull the plug, right? If you apologize for being you, you get what you deserve. Yeah, if you apologize for being you, um, yeah, and people are gonna run over you, and especially your wife, because she's designed to do that to weak men. So, and she lives with one. So, what do you think is gonna happen? So you have to be honest and all that stuff. So, yeah. All right, guys. That's all I have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it. And I don't know when my next daytime show is gonna be. Again, tough week, very packed. But I should maybe an early afternoon show. Who knows? But from there, we'll see what happens from there. So, anyways, guys, thank you for everything, and I'll see you guys next time.